My friend, you think someday will make you rich. That is a lie. Someday is where money dies, where dreams lose cash flow, where good plans become dust. You are here to practice English, yes, but also to face the truth about your life. Stay until the end, and you will not only hear better English, you will see the trap that is quietly stealing your future. Welcome to English Story Studio. Here you train your English and your life at the same time. Calm mind, clear truth. My friend, maybe you are tired of hearing soft advice. Maybe people tell you, take your time, relax. You are still young. But deep inside, you feel something heavy. You know delay is not rest. Delay is loss. Delay is silent self-betrayal. Today, we will walk through this together. First, we will face the lie of tomorrow. Then, we will look at the fear of beginning. Then, we will hit a hard truth about time. After that, we will learn how to start with what you have, how to use 1 minute to break resistance, how to ignore foolish opinions, why failure is the only road, and how to reclaim your identity. This is not just a lesson. It is a wake-up call. Let us begin with the first truth. Tomorrow is a beautiful word. It sounds clean. It sounds safe. It sounds safe. But tomorrow is often a cemetery. It is the place where ideas are buried before they can breathe. You say, I will start tomorrow. Tomorrow I will study English. Tomorrow I will write. Tomorrow I will exercise. Tomorrow I will fix my money. Tomorrow I will call my parents. Tomorrow I will become serious. But tomorrow is a lie because tomorrow has no cost in your mind. Today has cost. Today asks for effort. Today asks for discomfort. Today asks for action. Tomorrow asks for nothing. That is why your brain loves it. This is how people lose years. Not in one big disaster. Not in one dramatic moment. No. They lose life in small delays. One delay becomes 10. 10 become 100. Then one day they look in the mirror and say, what happened to me? The truth is simple. What happened to you was not one failure. It was one word. Someday. A man named Jake once told himself he would start his business when life became less busy. He had ideas. He had energy. He had enough skill to begin. But he always moved the starting line. First, he needed a better laptop. Then he needed more savings. Then he needed a better plan. Then he needed the perfect time. The perfect time never came. Years passed. Other people started with less skill, less money, less confidence. They were not magic. They were not chosen. They simply began before they felt ready. Jake did not lose because he lacked talent. He lost because he kept worshiping tomorrow. My friend, this is the trap. You think delay protects you, but delay is not protection. Delay is slow destruction. When you delay, you do not stay in the same place. That is another lie. You move backward. Your courage gets weaker. Your excuses get stronger. Your standards become fake. Your identity starts to change. You no longer say, I am someone who will do it. You become someone who only talks about doing it. And that change is dangerous because before action becomes a habit, excuse becomes a habit. Stop. Be honest. How many things have you said you would do later? Check your phone notes. Check your unfinished plans. Check your open tabs. Check your bank account. Check your screen time. Look at the proof. Are you building your life or are you collecting intentions like dead leaves? This is why the lie of tomorrow must die first. So what do? First, stop using future language to escape present pain. Do not say, I will start tomorrow. Say, I start now, badly if needed. Then, make the task smaller, not the dream smaller. The dream can stay big, but the action must become real. Finally, give today a job. A day without a clear action becomes food for delay. That is the first truth. Now we go deeper. Many people say, I am lazy. But often that is not true. Laziness is not always the real enemy. Fear is. You are not moving because you are afraid of starting badly, afraid of looking stupid, afraid that people will judge your first step, afraid that your work will not be perfect, afraid that the result will expose you, so you call it procrastination. But sometimes procrastination is fear wearing lazy clothes. A woman named Emma wanted to speak English better. She listened to videos. She bought notebooks. She saved useful words. She dreamed of speaking with confidence. But she never recorded her voice. She never spoke out loud. She never joined a conversation. Why? Not because she did not care. She cared too much. She was afraid to hear her own mistakes. That is the cruel joke. The thing that can save you is the thing you avoid because it hurts your pride. Beginning is painful because beginning shows you the truth. You are not as ready as you imagined. You are not as smooth as you hoped. You are not as strong as your fantasy, but this is normal. This is human. This is how all real growth begins. The first attempt is awkward. The first video is bad. The first page is weak. The first workout is ugly. The first business idea is simple. The first spoken sentence shakes. Good. That is not failure. That is entry. Perfection is often just fear with makeup. It looks smart. It sounds high quality. But its secret message is always the same. Do not begin yet, my friend. That voice is not your friend. You do not need perfect conditions. You need courage for imperfect action. Think of a child learning to walk. No child says, I will wait until I can do it perfectly. No. The child falls, looks confused, stands again, falls again, and learns. Adults are different. Adults want the image of success without the public pain of learning. That is why adults stay stuck. They protect their ego and destroy their future. Stop. Be honest. What are you really afraid of? Not the task. The feeling. The feeling of being seen as weak. The feeling of not being special. The feeling that your first step is small, but all strong people have a small first step behind them. Always. So how do you fight the fear of beginning? First, name the fear clearly. Say it. I am afraid of judgment. I am afraid of looking foolish. When fear has a name, it becomes smaller. Then, lower the standard for the first attempt. Your first job is not to impress. Your first job is to begin. Finally, let action speak before confidence. Confidence does not usually come first. Action comes first. Confidence is the reward, not the ticket. Remember this truth. You do not become brave and then start. You start, and then bravery begins to grow. And now we arrive at a hard turn. Many people comfort themselves with one sentence. I still have time. My friend, do not trust that sentence too much. You say you have time. But have you counted it? Have you counted how many more times you may sit with your mother and father at the table? Have you counted how many summers of real youth are still in your hands? Have you counted how many strong years remain before your body changes, before your energy drops, before responsibility gets heavier? Life is shorter than your excuses. A year feels long when you delay. A year feels very short when you look back. Ryan once said he would visit his parents more after work became easier. Work did not become easier. Life became faster. Then one day he realized he was not counting years. He was counting chances. And chances are not endless. This is your minute 10 truth. Do not say later. Count what is left. Nobody is coming to save you. You must wake yourself up. You must become the person who moves now, not later. In the next part, we will turn this truth into action. We will begin with what you have, not what you wish you had. A moment ago, we faced the truth about time. Life is shorter than your excuses, So now we must move from pain to action. Not big action, real action. The next lie is very common. It sounds practical. It sounds intelligent. But it is still a lie. You say, I will start when I have better tools. I will start when I have more money. I will start when I have a quiet room, a better phone, a stronger body, a clearer plan, a little more support. My friend, listen carefully. Tools matter, yes. Money matters, yes. But they are not the first gate. The first gate is decision. Many people do not need more resources. They need less drama. Start with what you have. This truth is not exciting. That is why many people ignore it. They want a powerful beginning. They want a movie scene. They want beautiful equipment, a perfect desk, fresh motivation, a clean calendar, a shining new version of themselves. But real life is not like that. Real life says, here is your old notebook. Here is your tired body. Here is your small room. Here is your cheap phone. Here is your fear. Begin anyway. A young man named Olivia. No, let me correct that. A young woman named Olivia wanted to make videos online. She believed she needed a great camera, expensive lights, a perfect background, and advanced editing skills. So she waited. She watched other creators. She studied them. She compared herself. She told herself she was preparing, but preparation became hiding. One day she used the only thing she had. Her old phone, bad lighting, simple words, no fancy edit. The video was not amazing, but it was alive. It existed. That one imperfect video taught her more than 6 months of planning. That is how progress works. Action gives information. Delay gives fantasy. When you start with what you have, you kill a dangerous habit. The habit of making conditions into kings. You stop saying, my environment controls me. You start saying, I move first. This matters in every part of life. You want to improve your English. Then speak with your current voice. Use your current vocabulary. Read with your current level. You do not need perfect grammar to begin. You need sound. You need repetition. You need courage. You want to improve your health. Then walk with your current shoes. Stretch on your current floor. Eat one better meal with the money you already have. Do not wait for the perfect gym plan. You want to fix your money. Then look at your real numbers now. Not next month. Not when salary grows. Now. Rich habits do not begin when income becomes large. They begin when truth becomes clear. You want to create something. Then make it ugly first. The ugly beginning is an asset. It gives you feedback. It gives you skill. It gives you proof that you are no longer only a consumer. People waste years dreaming about ideal conditions, but ideal conditions usually come after consistent action, not before it. Stop. Be honest. What are you blaming right now? Your room, your age, your salary, your past, your device, your lack of support. Some limits are real, yes, but many limits are only excuses with good grammar. This is why starting with what you have is powerful. It takes away your last place to hide, and there's another secret. Starting small protects your energy. Big plans can feel noble, but they often scare the brain. The brain sees a huge mountain and says no. Too much pain, too much risk, too much effort. So the brain delays. That is why your next tool is so simple that many people laugh at it. The 1-minute rule. This rule sounds weak. It sounds too small. But small is exactly why it works. Tell yourself this. I will do the task for 1 minute. Only 1 minute. Not 1 hour. Not 30 minutes. Not until I feel inspired. Just 1 minute. Read 1 minute. Write 1 minute. Clean 1 minute. Practice English 1 minute. Open the document 1 minute. Look at the budget 1 minute. Do 1 push-up. Speak 1 sentence. Why does this help? Because resistance is strongest at the door. Your brain hates beginning more than doing. Beginning feels dangerous. Beginning means change. Beginning means effort becomes real. So the brain creates fog. It creates sleepiness, hunger, doubt, random ideas, sudden interest in cleaning, strange love for your phone. But the 1-minute rule is a trick against that fog. It says relax. We are not climbing the whole mountain. We are only touching the stone. And when you touch the stone, something changes. Momentum begins. Most of the time, 1 minute becomes 5. 5 becomes 12. 12 becomes 20. But even if it stays 1 minute, you still win. Because you kept the promise. You trained identity. You proved that action is possible. A man named Ryan wanted to write every day, but he always felt blocked. He thought real writing needed deep focus, long sessions, perfect silence. So he kept waiting for the right mood. Then he changed the rule, 1 minute only. Every evening he opened the page and wrote one bad sentence. Some days he stopped there. Some days he wrote half a page. After months, he was no longer a man who wanted to write. He was a man who wrote. That is the real power. The 1 minute rule is not about productivity only. It is about identity. When you do 1 minute, you vote for a new self, a self who acts, a self who keeps promises, a self who does not worship mood, a self who can be trusted. My friend, never laugh at small actions. Small actions are seeds. Big lives grow from seeds, not from speeches. There's another reason this rule works. It reduces fear. When you say, I must do this big hard thing, your body becomes tense. But when you say, just 1 minute, your body softens. The wall becomes a door. So use the rule with discipline. In the morning, 1 minute of planning. In study, 1 minute of reading aloud. In health, 1 minute of movement. In money, 1 minute of checking spending. In creative work, 1 minute of opening the file and touching the task. Small is not weak. Small is repeatable. And repeatable beats dramatic. Stop. Be honest. How much of your life have you delayed because the task felt too big? How many dreams are still sleeping because your brain said, not now, too much, later? Check your screen time beside your output. Check your excuses beside your results. One shows your comfort. One shows your future. Now let me show you how to use this rule in a simple way. First, choose one task you avoid every day. Only one, not 10. Then make the entry so small that your brain cannot argue. Open the page. Put on the shoes. Read one paragraph. Speak one line. Finally, stop negotiating with yourself after the minute begins. The decision is already made. You do not ask your mood for permission. This is how resistance gets weaker. Not by thinking harder, by starting smaller, and something beautiful happens after this. You begin to trust yourself again. That trust is gold. Many people are not tired because of work. They are tired because they keep breaking promises to themselves. Every delay becomes a cut in self-respect, but every 1 minute action repairs a little piece. You start to feel different, more solid, more clean inside. Not because life is suddenly easy, because you are no longer lying to yourself. In the next part, we go into another hard truth. You must stop living under the opinions of sheep. People will laugh, judge, and talk. Let them. Then we will face the road of failure, the only road that leads anywhere real. You have started to move. Good. But the moment you begin to act, another enemy appears. It is loud. It is childish. It is everywhere. Other people, not all people, but many. Some will laugh. Some will doubt you. Some will give soft poison in the shape of advice. Some will say, be realistic. Some will say, why are you changing now? Some will smile at your face and mock you later. This is normal. My friend, listen carefully. A lion never stops to answer sheep. That sentence is hard but true. Sheep love noise. Sheep love safety. Sheep love the group. They fear movement because movement exposes their own excuses. So when you begin to build, they feel uncomfortable. Your action becomes a mirror. And many people hate mirrors. If you start speaking English every day, someone may laugh at your accent. If you start posting your work, someone may call it cringe. If you start saving money, someone may say you are boring. If you stop wasting nights, someone may say you changed too much. Yes, you changed. That is the point. A man named Jake stopped going out every weekend because he wanted to study, save money, and build a small online business. His friends joked about him. They called him serious. They called him no fun. They said he was acting rich before he had money. Jake almost listened. That is the danger. Mockery is weak, but constant mockery can enter the mind if you are tired. Little comments become little cuts. Then little cuts become self-doubt. So you must learn one clean rule. Not every opinion deserves a seat at your table. Read that again inside your mind. Not every opinion deserves a seat at your table. This one rule can save years of your life because most people around you are not qualified to guide you. They are only nearby. Nearby is not the same as wise. Familiar is not the same as right. Many people speak from fear, not truth. They do not want your courage to grow because it reminds them of their own delay. This is why you must separate noise from signal. Signal comes from those who build. Signal comes from those who pay the price. Signal comes from people whose life shows discipline. Noise comes from gossip. Noise comes from comfort addicts. Noise comes from people who laugh at effort because effort scares them. Stop. Be honest. Who has a microphone in your life right now? Whose voice is shaping your choices? Check your messages. Check your group chats. Check the people you follow. Check the jokes you accept. Are these voices making you stronger or more ashamed of trying? This matters because shame kills repetition, and repetition is everything. If you become ashamed of your small first steps, you will stop before growth can arrive. So how do you ignore the opinions of sheep? First, expect judgment before it comes. Do not act surprised. People always react when you leave the group script. Expect it. This makes it weaker. Then, choose your source of validation. Let your standard come from action, not applause. Did you do the work? Good. That is the score. Finally, go quiet. Not every dream needs public talking. Some goals grow better in silence. Move more. Announce less. Silence is not weakness. Silence protects new identity. A young woman named Emma wanted to improve her speaking. She kept hiding because a few people once laughed at her pronunciation. So she practiced alone every day for 3 months. Quietly. No big speech. No performance. Then one day, when she spoke again, people noticed the change. But by then, it did not matter. Her confidence was no longer rented from the crowd. That is power. Real confidence is private before it becomes visible. My friend, do not hand your future to people who are entertained by your fear. That is too expensive. Your life is an asset, guarded. And now we move to a truth that many people hate. Failure is the only path, not because failure is fun, not because pain is beautiful, but because failure is the price of entering reality. If you never fail, your goal is too small. That sentence is not a quote to sound deep. It is a measuring tool. Look at your life. Where are you failing? Where are you stretching? Where are you trying something hard enough that your current self cannot do it well yet? If the answer is nowhere, then maybe you are not living carefully. Maybe you are hiding carefully. There is a big difference. Some people build a life designed to avoid embarrassment. They stay inside what they can already do. They choose goals they know they can reach. They speak only when safe. They try only when success is likely. Then they call this peace. It is not peace. It is controlled shrinking. A man named Ryan wanted to change careers. He hated his job, but he feared looking foolish as a beginner again. So he stayed where he was. He knew the work. He knew the pain. It was a familiar prison. Then one day he applied for a new role, failed the interview, and felt terrible. But that failure gave him something comfort never gave him: information. He saw his weak points. He saw what skills were missing. He saw what the real standard was. After that, his fear became concrete. And concrete fear can be trained. Fog cannot. This is one of the great truths of life. Failure gives data. Avoidance gives fantasy. Fantasy feels better in the short term. That is why many people choose it. They would rather dream of being good than be bad for a while on the way to becoming good. But reality only opens for the people who can be seen failing. Think about children again. They learn language through mistake after mistake. Wrong sounds, wrong grammar, wrong rhythm. But they keep going. Adults want fluency without the public failure of practice. So adults stay quiet and call it waiting. Waiting for what? For a version of life where growth has no awkward stage? That version does not exist. My friend, if you want a bigger life, you must build a better relationship with failure. Failure is not a final identity. Failure is feedback. Failure is training. Failure is the road telling you where to place your feet next. Of course, not every failure is useful. Some people fail and learn nothing because their pride protects them from truth. They blame the world. They blame timing. They blame other people. That is useless failure. Useful failure is honest. Useful failure asks, what did this show me? Useful failure asks, where was I weak? Useful failure asks, what must change now? Stop. Be honest. What have you avoided because you might fail? Starting a channel? Speaking English out loud? Applying for the job? Writing the first page? Asking the question? Looking at your debt? What would happen if you failed? Would you die? Or would your ego simply lose one costume? This is why failure must become normal in your mind. Not loved, not worshipped. Normal. When you fall, you do not create a funeral. You create a lesson. Here is a simple way to do that. First, fail fast in small ways. Do not make your first test enormous. Make many small attempts. This protects your spirit and grows your skill. Then, record the lesson quickly. One sentence is enough. What did this failure teach me? Write it down before your emotions turn it into drama. Finally, return soon. Speed matters. If you wait too long after failure, fear writes a false story. Go back while the truth is still warm. This is how strong people are made, not from never falling, from returning without self-pity. A person who can return is dangerous in the best way. Life cannot control them easily. Shame cannot stop them for long. They are teachable. They are alive. And let me tell you another hard truth. Many people say they want success, but they do not want the daily feeling of being a beginner. They want the crown, not the training. They want the money, not the mistakes. They want the result, not the repeated correction. That is childish. You must become an adult in your mind. An adult says, yes, this is hard. Yes, I am behind. Yes, I feel exposed. I move anyway. That sentence can change everything. In the next part, we turn toward the deepest chapter of all, identity. You are not just trying to finish tasks. You are trying to become someone you can respect. We will reclaim that identity and make a contract with yourself that begins now, not someday. A moment ago, we faced the truth about failure. If you return after failure, you grow. If you hide from failure, you shrink. Now we go to the deepest level. Identity. This is where real change begins. Most people try to change behavior without changing identity. They say, I want to wake up earlier. I want to study more. I want to stop wasting time. I want to become disciplined. These are fine goals, but they often stay weak because the person inside is still divided. One part says, build. Another part says, hide. One part says, save money. Another part says, impress people. One part says, practice. Another part says, scroll. This inner division is exhausting. My friend, you do not only need a better plan. You need a sacred contract with yourself, not a dramatic speech, not motivation music, a contract. A contract means something simple. You stop treating your life like a suggestion. You become a person with rules. It may sound hard, but rules are freedom. A river without banks becomes a flood. A person without rules becomes noise. So what is identity? Identity is the story you repeat about who you are. I am always late. I never finish. I am bad with money. I am lazy. I am not confident. I am just not that kind of person. Be careful with these sentences. They sound small, but they are commands. The brain listens. The body follows. If you keep saying, I am a procrastinator, your mind will protect that identity. Even when you want to change, your old story will pull you back. That is why reclaiming your identity matters more than winning one productive morning. You are not trying to force one action. You are rewriting the kind of person you are. A man named Jake once made promises every Sunday night. New week, new start, new energy. But by Wednesday, he broke the plan again. Then he felt shame. Then he escaped into entertainment. Then he made another promise next Sunday. This cycle was not really a time problem. It was an identity problem. Jake still saw himself as a man who tries, fails, and starts over with speeches. He did not yet see himself as a man who keeps small promises. That is the shift. The strong identity is not built from big claims. It is built from repeated evidence. You do not say, I am disciplined, and then become disciplined. You do disciplined things, and slowly the mind accepts a new truth. So the contract with yourself must be simple enough to obey and serious enough to matter. For example, you can say, I am a person who starts before I feel ready. I am a person who does one hard thing each day. I am a person who tells the truth about my time, my money, and my effort. I am a person who returns quickly after failure. I am a person who does not sell my future for comfort. These are not pretty lines for social media. These are standards, and standards create identity. Stop. Be honest. What identity are you protecting right now? The victim? The funny one who never gets serious? The talented one who never tries hard, so failure never becomes clear? The busy one? The tired one? The misunderstood one? Look at your habits. They reveal the contract you already signed. Because yes, you already have a contract. Everyone does. Some people signed a contract with comfort. Some signed with distraction. Some signed with fear. Some signed with approval. Some signed with delay. And every day they obey it. You must cancel that contract. Not tomorrow. Now. Let me explain what a sacred contract really means. It means there are actions you no longer debate. It means you stop asking your mood to lead your life. It means your values become visible. It means your private habits match your public dreams. That is integrity. And integrity creates peace. Many people think peace comes from easy days. Not true. Easy days can make you weak and guilty. Real peace often comes from self-respect. When you know you did what you said you would do, your mind becomes quieter, not because life is perfect, because the war inside becomes smaller. A woman named Emma decided on one personal rule. Every day, before sleep, she would spend 15 minutes on the skill that mattered most to her. No speeches, no excuses. Some nights she was tired. Some nights she was busy. Some nights the work was bad. But she kept the rule. After months, something changed. The work improved, yes, but more important, Emma trusted herself again. Trust in self is one of the rarest forms of wealth. Without it, even success feels unstable. With it, small progress feels powerful. My friend, this is why reclaiming your identity is not soft psychology. It is practical survival. A weak identity leaks time, money, energy, and focus. A strong identity protects all four. If your identity is weak, every temptation becomes a real negotiation. Should I work or scroll? Should I save or waste? Should I practice or delay? Should I sleep or keep drifting? But when identity becomes clear, many choices become automatic. I do not do that. I do this. Simple, clean, strong. This does not mean you become perfect. Never. Perfection is another lie. It means you become decided, and decided people move differently. They may still feel fear, but they move. They may still feel tired, but they move. They may still feel doubt, but they move, because identity is now pulling them forward. In the next part, we will make this contract real, not abstract, real. We will turn identity into daily proof, and we will speak the promise you must make to yourself before this day ends. We have already named the truth. Identity is not talk. Identity is proof. So now we must make your contract with yourself real enough to survive a normal day, because normal days are the real test, not the powerful morning, not the inspired weekend, not the emotional reset after a bad week. Normal Tuesday, normal tired evening, normal boring hour. That is where identity becomes real or fake. My friend, many people love the feeling of a new beginning. Very few love the discipline of a repeated beginning. But repeated beginning is where your new self is built. So let us make this practical. A sacred contract with yourself does not need many pages. In fact, too many rules often become another form of escape. Keep it clean. Keep it hard. Keep it true. Say to yourself, I do not wait for perfect conditions. I begin with what I have. I do not trust tomorrow more than today. I do one small hard thing before comfort. I return fast after failure. I protect my attention. I do not let weak opinions guide my life. I build the self I can respect. These are not just words. They are doors. Every day you either walk through them or you do not. And here is the important truth. You do not need to feel fully ready before making this contract. Readiness is often the reward of movement, not the cause. Some people waste years trying to feel certain. But certainty usually comes late. Action comes first. Clarity comes after contact with reality. This is true in English. This is true in work. This is true in money. This is true in love. This is true in life. You learn by entering. So from this moment, stop asking, what if I am not ready? Ask, what proof can I create today? Proof matters because feelings change quickly. Yesterday you felt strong. Today you feel weak. Tomorrow you may feel confused. Feelings move like weather. Identity must become stronger than weather. How? By collecting evidence. Did you study for 10 minutes when you did not want to? That is evidence. Did you write one page, even badly? That is evidence. Did you turn off the phone and face the hard thing? That is evidence. Did you save a little money instead of wasting it for appearance? That is evidence. These small pieces of proof are powerful. They tell your nervous system, I am changing. They tell your mind, this is who we are now. Stop. Be honest. What evidence are you creating this week? Not what do you hope. Not what do you plan. What evidence exists? Look at your room. Look at your calendar. Look at your spending. Look at your output. Your life is already speaking. Maybe that truth hurts. Good. Pain is useful when it wakes you up. A man named Ryan once wrote a simple sentence on paper and put it near his desk. I keep promises to myself. That was his contract. When he wanted to drift, he looked at the sentence. When he wanted to delay, he looked again. The sentence did not do magic, but it reminded him who he was trying to become. Over time, one rule changed many actions. This is what I want for you. Not a perfect life, A trustworthy self. A self that can carry pressure. A self that does not run at the first discomfort. A self that can look in the mirror without needing excuses. That is dignity. And dignity is worth more than comfort. Comfort can feel kind in the moment, but too much comfort becomes a trap. It makes your muscles soft, your mind slow, your standards low. Then one day you realize comfort was expensive. It took your sharpness. It took your courage. It took your years. So your contract must include one more thing. You must become a person who can sit with discomfort without panic. When work feels boring, stay. When practice feels embarrassing, stay. When progress feels slow, stay. When the first result is bad, stay. Staying is power, not dramatic power, wheel power, because the world belongs again and again to people who can stay with the process after the feeling disappears. In the final part, we will close this with a vow. We will gather every chapter into one clear message. And before this ends, I want you to leave with one action that begins today, not someday. My friend, we have walked through hard truth together. Tomorrow is a lie when it becomes a hiding place. Fear of beginning is often stronger than laziness. Time is shorter than you think. You must start with what you have. You must make the task small enough to begin. You must stop bowing to the opinions of sheep. You must stop treating failure like a funeral. And now, above all, you must reclaim your identity. This is the heart of the message. Your life does not change when you feel inspired. Your life changes when your standards become stronger than your moods. It changes when you stop making speeches to yourself and start making proof. It changes when your daily actions say, clearly and quietly, I am no longer that person. A person can lose years by waiting. A person can also rebuild a life by deciding. That is the good news. Maybe you have delayed. Maybe you have hidden. Maybe you have hidden. Maybe you have wasted energy, money, attention, youth. Fine, the truth may hurt, but it also opens a door. You are still here. You can still begin. Not in a perfect way, in a real way. So let this be the moment, not the moment you promise everything. The moment you choose one honest action and do it. Maybe tonight you open the notebook. Maybe tonight you speak English out loud for 5 minutes. Maybe tonight you delete one distraction. Maybe tonight you write one page. Maybe tonight you look at your debt. Maybe tonight you send the message. Maybe tonight you begin the life you keep talking about. That is how change starts. Quietly, clearly, without drama, with decision. And now I want to speak to you very directly. My friend, you do not need another week of thinking. You do not need another soft excuse with beautiful language. You do not need another video that makes you feel awake for 10 minutes and sleepy again tomorrow. You need a line in the sand. You need a vow. Say this inside yourself now. I will not give my life to someday. I will not wait for perfect conditions. I will not let fear dress itself as wisdom. I will not let weak people name my limits. I will not worship comfort while my future starves. I will begin small. I will fail and return. I will keep promises to myself. I will build a life that my future self can respect. That is your contract. Make it sacred, not because the world is watching. The world is usually busy, distracted, careless. Make it sacred because you are watching. Your own mind is watching. Your own spirit is listening. Every action teaches you who you are. Every delay teaches you something too. So teach yourself strength. Teach yourself honesty. Teach yourself movement. Do not worry about becoming amazing this week. Worry about becoming real today. That is enough. Real effort today. Real focus today. Real courage today. Real English practice today. Real work today. And then tomorrow, do it again. This is how a drifting person becomes a builder. This is how a consumer becomes a creator. This is how a weak identity becomes a solid one. This is how self-respect returns. You may still feel fear. Fine. You may still feel behind. Fine. You may still feel embarrassed. Fine, move anyway. That is adulthood. That is discipline. That is freedom. One day people may look at your life and call you lucky. Let them. They did not see the small hidden battles. They did not see the 1-minute starts, the quiet nights, the repeated returns after failure, the times you chose truth over comfort. But you will know, and that knowledge will make you calm, because calm is not pretending life is easy. Calm is knowing you no longer run from yourself. English Story Studio is built for this kind of person. A person who wants more than passive listening. A person who wants language and backbone, vocabulary and discipline, better sentences and a better self. So if this message reached you, do not leave it as emotion only. Turn it into action. Write one thing in the comments, the one action you will do today, before sleep. Make it concrete. Not, I will change my life. No, something real. I will read 1 page aloud. I will practice English for 10 minutes. I will open my budget. I will walk for 15 minutes. I will write 1 paragraph. I will turn off my phone for 1 hour. Then subscribe to English Story Studio if you want to keep building this way. Not to collect motivation, to train identity, to stop drifting and start building, to stop consuming endless noise and start creating a life with weight, truth, and direction. My friend, this is your wake-up call. Someday is over. Today is here. Stand up, begin badly, stay with it, and become someone you can trust.